The FCC takes action against several labs in the USA that are apparently controlled by China, calling them bad labs for the purposes of testing Chinese radio equipment. Check this out. This was sent to me by one of you. I got an email from you with a link to this Brendan Carr, FCC, chairman of the FCC. He put this on X, or what I still call Twitter. The FCC has identified 7 test labs that are apparently owned or controlled by China. Up to now, these labs have been authorized to review electronics headed for the U.S., including national security checks. We're now taking action to kick bad labs out of the U.S. system. So in other words, I wonder, and I found a link to this. He shared a picture on Twitter. He didn't share a link to the actual article. So I went on to the FCC website, and I found a link to this article. I'm going to read this to you guys. But I wonder how many of these labs were in charge of spurious emissions tests on some of the Part 90 or Part 95 radios that we've been getting into the USA from China. I get the question and comment several times on videos when I post videos about Baofangs or Redivus radios or Anytone radios or anything else out of China. People will say something like, I thought these weren't allowed in the USA anymore. How can they sell these radios as completely unlocked? They're not Part 90. Or, are these legal to sell? Is this? And I'm like, well, you know what? I mean, I don't really know the answer to that other than to say, eBay and Amazon, you can buy kind of anything you want to. And I don't know how they get around regulations, but more than that, I don't know exactly what the regulations are. So I know for a fact that the FCC came down on Baofeng a while back and said that you can't sell a fully unlocked UV5R anymore, which most of the time if you buy a UV5R on Amazon, it's locked, but it's just a simple, like a 2-key process to unlock it. So it's kind of pointless, in my opinion, that they even care about that, because they're selling a very easy to unlock radio. And I'm not saying they should or should not be able to be unlocked. I'm just saying the facts are that locking the radio does very little to prevent people from transmitting outside of the amateur radio bands. And those UV5R radios are not Part 90 accepted. Baofeng does have some Part 90 type accepted radios, Part 90 certified radios. Part 90 means they're commercial, and it means they've gone through a little bit extra test, and they're supposed to have less spurious emissions than something that is not Part 90. It means they're full open transmit from about 134 to 174 or 136 to 174 megahertz. And 400 to maybe 480 or even up to 520 megahertz, something like that. But sometimes Part 90 radios are good and sometimes they're not good. So it kind of depends. But I wonder if there was anything in these tests these labs rather, that signified, that kind of let things slip through the cracks that they shouldn't have. Why would any Chinese lab be used? Some of the comments here. Twitter is a dumpster fire of comments and always has been. It might be a little bit better today than it used to be. Here is the FCC actual document, PDF file that I've found. Now, I went back here and I found the Bad Labs Apparently Controlled by China article on the FCC.gov website. It's right here, and you can get the press release in document or PDF or text file. So I pulled up the PDF file, and I'm going to read that to you guys. But first, I want to tell you about a brand new sponsor for the channel. Brand new sponsor, ABR Coax. ABR Coax is made in the USA. ABR Coax is made not only in the USA, but it's made in Texas. You can save a 10% discount on ABR Coax with the coupon code of ABR10KC5HWB. ABR10KC5HWB. Go out to their website. Check out their website. Some really, really high-quality, made-in-the-USA coax. If you don't want to buy coax from Amazon that you don't know where it's from, maybe you'll get some good coax on Amazon. Maybe you won't. But ABR Coax is all made in the USA. Really fitting for this video, I thought. So thank you, ABR, for sponsoring this video, and I hope we can work together more in the future. All right, let's zoom in on this right here. News from the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. FCC takes action on bad labs, quote, apparently controlled by China. FCC takes first step to enforce recent bad labs rules, proceeding to withdraw recognition from foreign adversary-owned labs. This article was written earlier this month at the time of this recording. It comes from Washington on September 8th of 2025. Today, the FCC took an initial set of actions to address the threats posed by, quote, bad labs, they call it. These are labs that review and approve electronics for use in the U.S., but are ultimately owned or controlled by a foreign adversary nation. Adversary nation. A lot of you come along this channel and you're like, CCR, Chinese Communist Republic, why would you ever buy anything? And again, USA manufacturing needs to step up their game. We need to get some sort of manufacturing inside the USA because there are no handheld radios for any service. Ham radio, commercial radio, GMRS, CB, nothing. None of that stuff is made in the USA. Most all of it is made in China. Heck, man, if it was made in Mexico or South America somewhere or in Italy, I'd be okay with that. But most of it is made in China. Some of it's made in Japan. There's a lot of ham radios that are made in Japan, obviously. Handheld ham radios for our service that are made in Japan. But there's hardly anything that's made in Japan for GMRS or stuff like that. So a CB radio, that kind of thing. So we need to, I would like to see a comment in the video below, because every time I talk about products that are made in USA, Elecraft, Flex Radio, some other stuff, Buddy Pole, I get comments about how expensive those items are. So put a comment in this video below and tell me one of two things. Do you prefer cheap products, cheaper price, or better quality made in the USA products? Because you can't have both. If someone like Flex Radio were to come along and say, we're going to start making a dual-man HT, just as good as their HF radios, maybe just as good as a Motorola handheld radio, okay, the HT is going to be upwards of, it's going to be north of $1,000, $1,500, $1,800, something like that. Would you be okay with that? Would you want one? Do you think you'd buy one? I doubt you'd buy 4 of them. You probably have 4 UV5Rs, right? I doubt you'd buy that many, but would you buy one? Would you be okay with a high price if it's made in the USA, or would you rather have lower prices that are made in other countries? Put a comment in the video below. Specifically, the FCC's Office of Engineering and Technology issued notices today that begin proceedings to withdraw recognition from an initial tranche of these bad labs. The FCC adopted this process at its May Commission meeting and now takes these actions immediately upon those rules becoming effective. The agency has now begun proceedings to withdraw recognition from 7 test labs owned or controlled by the Chinese government. The recognition of 4 other such labs have expired since the adoption of our rules will not be renewed. Okay. President Trump is leading the charge to reshore America's industrial capacity and safeguard critical supply chains from foreign adversary nations. Today's FCC action on bad labs will continue to do just that, said the FCC Chairman Brandon Carr. That's whose Twitter account we were looking at right here, Brandon Carr. Foreign adversary governments should not own and control the labs that test the devices the FCC certifies as safe for the U.S. market. This is an important step in restoring trust in the Commission's equipment authorization process and combating foreign adversary threats. I commend OET, the Enforcement Bureau, and the agency's Council on National Security for their work on this action. And it goes on to talk about some other government agencies down here. So I think this is a good thing. I don't really think that foreign companies should control test labs in the United States. I don't think foreign companies should control. There's certain things, a foreign person or an immigrant who is naturalized and has become a citizen, of course, that's totally fine. But a foreign company that's owned and operated overseas, I don't really care what the country is. I don't really think they should be controlling this type of test lab inside of the United States. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this is a good or a bad action by the FCC? I personally think this type of thing is more what the FCC should be doing. They should be not worried so much about what's happening inside the borders, but worrying about stuff that's coming into the country from outside of the United States borders and regulating more of that. So it's not really regulating stuff that U.S. citizens are doing as much as regulating companies and individuals outside the United States trying to push products into the import industry of this country. So I think this is kind of what they should be doing a little bit more than looking at people for bad transmitters on their GMRS towers or something like that. So I'll put links to this in the description below. So please comment on this video. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you want to watch these videos over here next. So go check those out, and we'll see you next time.